To the November report. I spent the last week or so putting together the first essays and assignments for my course, and it's been, say, interesting. I've read all the books before the course, and I've gone through a lot of the critical texts that go with it for the literature module, and I can't stand any of them. I really don't like any of the books that I'm set to read for the rest of the year, so it's going to make things interesting, but having a subject you don't like actually makes it easier to write an essay, because you can rant, you can have a real good, real good look at this thing that you don't like because you've got that energy behind it. But, and the first essays having to be in within 3 weeks of the start of the course was a little bit excessive, I think. The next one comes in end of November, and then the third one is the Tuesday after New Year's. So that's going to be interesting. So something to work on, carry on with. This week I'm doing the replacement project for this, because as you remember, I had a run-in with the shed pet, the largest spider I've ever seen, to cause me to throw this thing across the room and make a huge hole inside my box. So I made a replacement using one of the leftover blocks and used that I gave that to Mum for a birthday gift. So I'll be showing the making of that this week. Week after, it will be my birthday cake, which is a pumpkin cake, which you'll find quite useful if you've got still got a jack-o'-lantern hanging about, or pumpkins or that kind of thing, because it will pretty much use up any kind of pumpkin you've got, as long as it's not gone completely squiffy, or not completely green and rotten or whatever. So that's probably should have done it for this week, but never mind. So the week after that, I've got a 3-minute skill, which I haven't quite decided what I'm doing at the minute. I haven't spent a lot of time down here in the last week or so because of the essay, so I've got to do some tidying and sorting out and that kind of thing first. So I'll work out what that is before next week, obviously, or the week after. And at the end of the month, I'm showing you what I've already made, which is a portfolio folder that I'm using for my essay paperwork. So that's quite an interesting make. Generally, at least locally, we've had a lot of fog and mist in the last weekend or so, which made kind of Halloween quite interesting, quite atmospheric, really. Has been strange. You don't tend to get that kind of weather and sun. Although I think that's kind of the cause of it, that having early sun just keeps the moisture in the air rather than evaporating off. But whatever. So, interesting weather. As I said, I've not been down here very much at all, really, in the last week or so, so that's made it a little bit difficult to do stuff down here. So, I'm working on that. I've got a couple of projects running, and I've planned things for the first couple of months next year, so that I can get things as done as possible before the coursework and all that kind of kicks in again. So you'll notice that some of the weather is going to be slightly different when I'm doing January stuff, because I've already filmed 2 lots of things to go in January. So being prepared, being ahead of time, but I'm always looking for other ideas. I've only got up until about the end of March kind of sorted out, so if anyone's got any requests they want trying, then by all means I'm going to open things up to suggestions. Yeah, as I was saying, I've pretty much worked out what I'm doing up until the end of March. So any other ideas, by all means, I'm happy to try different projects and things. So you know how the system works. So it's a dragon food, 3-minute skill, a monthly project, and a scroll saw thing. So any suggestions you have, by all means, get them in there. So yeah, and I am putting together a video of outtakes, because in September or thereabouts I'll be reaching my 100 videos, and I suspect that by the end of September I will have a lot of outtakes, so that's going to be an interesting one. So yeah, we weren't actually home for Halloween this year, so I don't know how the trick or treating went on in the area. There aren't that many houses that were decorated, so one assumes there weren't that many people out doing trick or treating. But around here, it tends to be the lazy kind that kind of put a hoodie on and look at me, I'm a spook. No, it doesn't. If you're going to dress up, then dress up. But I know some of my friends with kids are doing the whole thing along their street, because you've got all of the streets where you've got lots of families will do their own, little group thing. So that makes more sense than just going to a stranger's house. And you can assume that what you're going to get for your treat, whatever, is going to be safe, at least, if you know who you're getting them from. But in this day and age, who knows? So, yeah. I think trick-or-treating is becoming bigger. Like a lot of things, it's been brought over from America, where it's become so commercialised. It's lost any of its anything really. It's become what you've seen on telly. So we never used to have a trick or treat really in the UK, because Halloween is All Saints Day, which was meant to be a religious festival, and it was a pagan festival. It was a festival of harvest and of kind of the beginning of winter type thing. So yeah, it's like a lot of things these days, it's lost its original thought, the original idea behind it, kind of the honesty of the event. It used to be a celebration of something natural, even if it's not a religious thing. It was a celebration of harvest has ended, now we're going into winter, so you're kind of shaking off the summer and getting ready for the winter type thing. Which makes more sense than going around dressed up like whatever. But that's something we've acquired really in the last, I suppose it's only really become a thing in the last 20 or so years. It used to be you could only see it on telly or in films from America, and it didn't really come over, it didn't really work that way. You had for Guy Fawkes, you had Penny for the Guy, which was as close as we got to any kind of interaction as such. But people don't often realise that the guy was supposed to be the Pope rather than Guy Fawkes, and people have lost that whole idea of where things have come from. They've become way too commercialised. It's generally a rant I've got about most events now, because it's within 2 weeks of, or not even that, within days of kids going back to school, they're already filling the shelves with Christmas stuff. You have one aisle of Halloween and then the rest is Christmas. And as soon as Christmas, you kind of get to Boxing Day, essentially, they're starting to put things up for Valentine's. And everything is just another festival. Go spend some money, and it's lost its meaning, really. I think probably as a terminally single person, I've never seen the need for Valentine's, because if you're in a loving relationship, why do you only wait till that one day? What is that one day out of the year? The rest of the year you hate each other? No. You love each other constantly. So why is it only that one day that you can give a gift? Why don't you think a little bit more generally? So, yeah. Only a small rant. Not really in a ranty mood. I'm actually feeling quite relieved at having sent off my essays. And I've got the first score back for the first one, and it's not fabulous, but after more than 10 years of not being in education and not having to write an essay, I'm quite happy with the score I've got. So, and I know from there I can then develop and get back into the swing. Because writing an essay isn't just read a book and write about it. There is a certain kind of mentality to writing an essay, a certain way of putting things. At whatever level you're at, even at kind of secondary school, there is a certain way that you must write an essay. And then it kind of develops up to the point where you're putting in references and that kind of thing. So I found essays really easy 10 years ago, but a long gap in between, so working on that. I think I might even do a kind of a 3-minute skill on essay writing, I think, in the new year, as a way of kind of reflecting back what I'm kind of relearning, I think, kind of giving back to the world, as it were. So yeah. So happy November. Enjoy your fireworks. enjoy your Thanksgiving or whichever celebration you're having this year. And I'll see you on Wednesday.